This is Gerardo. Excuse me. This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president, the CEO, and I have to say it every time because it matters, the largest shareholder of Kingsmen Resources, Mr. Scott Emerson. Scott, great to have you back on. Way overdue. Happy New Year, sir. I know we had the holidays here for a couple of weeks. It's great to have you back. How are you today?
Thank you. And Happy New Year to you and your listeners. But really, did we have a big break, Gerardo? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think publicly, shareholders like myself that have been anxious to get assays and results, it felt like it was a long break. Definitely not much of a break in the way of getting stuff done and being, busy, because it was plenty busy over the holidays. A lot of work went in on your end and on my end. So it pleases me to have you back on talking about hitting 270 grams per ton silver equivalent over 1.3 meters. And this part's important, in a 1.5 kilometer step out on a parallel structure at Las Coloradas. Let's be absolutely clear. This is another new discovery. And let's also be
Correct.
absolutely clear. 1.5 kilometer step out. It is a little bit of a game changer as far as the scale. We had talked before, Scott, about how important it was going to be. Initially, we talked about mineralization beneath the water table. We proved that right off the bat. Then we talked about scale, grade, and continuity. And this release, to me, has that in spades. Let's talk about that 1.3 meters of 270 grams per ton silver equivalent. Should be noted, 143 grams per ton silver in that hit and 0.72 grams per ton gold from 56.7 meters. And that's another point that I need to emphasize. It was very, very shallow economic mineralization. Give me your take on it, Scott. You got to be happy.
We're extremely pleased, but let me just put it into a little bit better perspective for your listeners, Gerardo. If you can envision a line, and we'll call that Soledad. That line we traced through sampling and mapping and geophysics for 1.7 kilometers. So for those, in the US, a mile and a bit. Okay. We knew that the old mine sat on 300 meters of that 1.5 kilometers or that 1.5 miles. That we then replicated, which we called the Soledad 2. It's a structure that had never been drilled. We identified it. We spent, for your listeners, we spent a year mapping and sampling that structure. And we had pockets of surface mineralization. If you go back to our website, many discussions you and I have had, we had these pockets where we'd see grades on samples ranging anywhere from 300 grams up to an ounce of silver on surface. We elected, as part of this program that we did last year, to drill a hole where we had, surface mineralization. We had some geophysics that indicated something was going on there. So we chose to drill that. That's, you're in Texas, it's wildcatting, so to speak. But yeah. What that did is that identified that we do have a big system where we are. We can now go back from our discovery hole, which was hole number 10, which was our first hole that we announced. We can now go 1.5 kilometers on a parallel structure and identify mineralization there. Nothing's, again, ever been drilled around there. It's a single hole. But what it does is it gives us an approximately 2.5 kilometer long structures by approximately 1 meter wide. All of the mineralization we've hit to date has been within that area. So if you think of it as a rectangle. So are we excited? I'm going to say we're elated that all of a sudden now we're starting to prove up that this system is a lot larger than what that old mine, that 300 meters by 150 meters deep, of what they were doing there. And, that goes into the fragmented land ownership and everything that we've been able to assemble and put together. Now it's showing us size. And that's what we're after, because ultimately our exit strategy, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, Gerardo, but our exit strategy is is that we want one of those operators that's in the vicinity to come and say, okay, we'll take what you've got.
That was a great answer and great context. Let me play devil's advocate. Hole 12, obviously excellent. It's shallow. It's got gold. It's got silver. It's got good grades. It's got good widths. And by the way, 1.5 kilometer step out, as we said. Holes 9 and 11. I could play devil's advocate and say, well, on those 2 holes, you missed. How would you respond to that? Because I have had conversations with a couple of people that said, well, yeah, that 1 hole is great, Gerardo, but they missed on the other 2. I would love for you to provide context on holes 9 and 11, what the targets were and what you achieved from both of those holes, because I know you don't feel like that it was a miss.
So what those holes did not miss because they were an undercut to hole 9. And hole 9 returned 1.5 meters of 931 grams of silver equivalent, or gold equivalent, sorry, and 1.28 grams of gold. What those did is that was an undercut. What we mean by that is what we saw was in the geology now, we have an understanding of what the system's doing. So while you say, oh, well, they missed, they didn't miss. What they gave us is geological context as to what we're chasing and following in this system. So that's how I'd answer the question.
No,
that makes sense.
It's great context, and I think important context, which is why I wanted to have you on. Now, listen, when we first started on this journey, and I say we because we were along with yourself, obviously, but we've been in this since the very first day, right? And
correct.
You came to us and you said, "Hey guys, I think I have a target of 200 million silver equivalent ounces." And we said, well, that would be phenomenal, given the comps. At the time, silver was in the $25, $30, $35 range. We now have $75 and $80 silver that looks like it'll be in triple digits here soon. We also now have the saddle target. We also now have discoveries 1.5 to 2 kilometers away. I hate to put you on the spot, but I got to believe that your internal target is targeting a whole heck of a lot more now than 200 million silver equivalent ounces.
I will agree with you there. It is just because of the pure size of this. It's going to take this next year of drilling. I think, your listeners and because, you've been a part of it. We financed just before Christmas. We were oversubscribed on a $4 million financing. That gave us the capital to go out there now and bracket these discovery holes. And we haven't announced all our holes yet either, Gerardo. I want to make that very clear. We're still waiting on some we're processing right now, and news is intimate there. So yes, I think our target now is expanded greatly. I'm going to tell you that the saddle target is an area that was identified by a gentleman by the name of Larry Buchanan of Electrum fame, and the person that discovered LPO. We're just about to get on site there to do some work, some sampling, some mapping. The things that are kind of boring, but get us to the stage where we can drill that target. And we're excited about that as well, and continuing to bracket the holes that we have drilled to date. So a lot more news to come over the course of the next 12 months out of Kingsmen. And we don't anticipate, additional financing or anything. We're well financed. And again, I point out, and I know you're pretty good at mentioning it, Gerardo, we have 29 million, just shy of 29 million shares outstanding. So, we're still only trading, if you want to take, a $70 million market cap, $65 million market cap. So we think amongst our peers, we're still inexpensive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm not going to ask you about plans for your upcoming drill program or any of that, because I suspect that along with assays that will continue to trickle in, we'll get an updated drilling program for 2026. I also realize that you're likely processing data and fitting that into the model to prepare those targets. So listen, I look forward to having you back on, Scott. I'm excited for the remaining assays And congratulations. It's a heck of a start to 2026. Anything to add to that?
Well, the only other thing that I'd add for your listeners is we're talking about Las Coloradas right now. We have Amaloya as well, which is 38 kilometers away. That's again, a similar type system. It's fragmented ownership, which we've all put together, and we're excited, Gerardo, to get onto that project and to drill it. So we're taking the steps right now to get to that stage. So simultaneously, you should have results or drilling from one or the other project over the next 12 months.
You know that drilling and the drill bit is my favorite way of adding value. I can't wait to see multiple rigs turning. Nothing like the truth machine. Scott, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Gerardo. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.